Hey, good evening. It's Friday, March 28th, and welcome back to Everyday Talk 24/7. Another thought about anxiety tonight. Let's say that you're really struggling with anxiety. The fears of this world, the uncertainty, the political climate. You're concerned that maybe you might get sick. You've had a history of sickness, and you've had some good friends that have succumbed to a serious illness. And it eats at you. And so you get a recommendation for some friends, maybe your pastor. Someone tells you about this excellent counselor, and they're very well regarded. And so you make an appointment and you get in to see them. And you talk to the counselor. And for the sake of discussion, we'll say it's a male. And he says to you, "Tell me, what are you struggling with?" And you say, "Well, doctor, I'm really struggling with fears and anxiety and worry. Maybe I'll get sick. It runs in my family. This world is so uncertain right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep my job. I'm concerned about all the discussions about AI, and the kind of work I do is susceptible to that. I'm just overcome with fear, worry, and anxiety." And he looks at you and he says, "Okay, let me tell you a story about some birds." Now, right at this moment, what is your thought? I just made all these arrangements to talk with this respected counselor, therapist, and I pour out my heart to him. And he says, "Let me tell you about some birds." Are you kidding me? This is serious. I'm concerned for my life, and you want to talk about birds? Well, in a very similar situation, Jesus is discussing on the Sermon on the Mount, and he tells those listening to him, make sure your treasure is in heaven and not in the things of earth. Make sure the things that come into your heart, the light that comes into your heart, is based on the truth. It's pure light. And don't give yourself up to serving different people. Be devoted to God and God alone. And then Jesus says, don't worry. Don't worry about your life, these things that you're concerned about. And he says, isn't your life more important than food? And the body more important than clothes? He's calming. But then notice what he says in Matthew 6:26. Look at the birds of the air. They do not reap, they do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Who of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to his life? Now suppose our trusted counselor said those things to you. You're coming in for counseling about your anxiety and your worries and your fear. You might be very upset. Who does this guy think he is? He's talking about birds of my life. But here's Jesus talking to people who face real life persecution. People that he knows, if they trust him and follow him, they will receive persecution and hatred. And they'll be worried about the things of this world. And yet he uses a bird. I put a picture up on the thumbnail. I'm putting up on the screen right now of a painted bunting. Beautiful birds. One of the blessings of living in this part of South Carolina is we have these birds. So I'm going to take this picture of one. Just gorgeous animals, gorgeous creatures. But they don't do anything that Jesus said. They don't sow, they don't reap, they don't save and put away. Yet God cares for them. Are you not much more valuable than this beautiful painted bunny? And you are. Who of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to your life? This is Jesus saying this. Would not it also be wise for the counselor you're talking to talk to you about birds? See, we see birds all the time. And that's part of the beauty of what Jesus does, is he uses everyday examples to bring us comfort. Those birds you see, they're not random. God is caring for them. And you are more valuable than a bird. And you say, I'm going to take care of you too. Like Psalm 139 says, the days of your life are set by God. You can worry, you can plan, you can do all these things. It's not going to add a single hour to your life. But what you can do is live a life of peace, knowing that God is caring for you. So Jesus is not giving us some easy answer. He's not evading the real problems of anxiety and worry. Trust me, those people living in the first century had plenty of things to be anxious about. But Jesus says to them, don't worry. Look at the birds. Consider them. You're more valuable than they. Your Heavenly Father will care for you. What an amazing counsel. Counsel we might be outraged at, and yet the Lord of the universe is giving comfort. Look at the birds of the air. You're more valuable than they, and God will care for you. Your worrying won't add an hour to your life, but your trust in God will bring peace to the hours you have left. Think about the birds. It's important. Jesus knew what he was talking about. Give your anxiety to God. Love your thoughts and your feedback. Thank you for being here, and Lord willing, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Good night.